In today's video, I'm going to go over building my own cyclone dust separator using Powertec's dust kit. And this is specifically for 4-inch. I believe they sell a 2-inch one. I recently got a Grizzly wall-mounted dust collector with 4-inch hose, and I wanted a cyclone separator. However, finding ones that have pre-made 4-inch ports for a reasonable price was just not something I could find. So I decided to find a kit. This was about $21, and this comes with the entry and exit ports, the hardware needed to connect it, 2 clamps, and then some tracing outlines so that you can cut your own holes. And that's the big thing about this kit, is that you need to provide the bin, whether that's plastic, metal. I went with a 40 gallon metal trash bin from Home Depot. That was about $34. And the reason you have to go with something a little larger instead of a 5-gallon bucket is that due to the size of these, they specifically have to be placed a little further apart. So a 5-gallon bucket, you'd have them much closer. To use the 4-inch hose, you need them further apart. There are a variety of drums, but the Home Depot silver trash cans seem to be the cheapest at $34. So I'm going to go through cutting all these out. And if you're seeing this video, that means it probably worked. If not, then it didn't work and you'll have no idea that I'm saying this. So this is the lid to the trash can I'm using. And what we will do is we will cut these in half and we will place these templates on here. And then you're going to essentially match up. This will go on the top and this will go on the bottom. These will bolt together. I'm going to put some weather stripping in between. And then your 4-inch hose entry will connect on one side, exit on the other side, and you'll create a cyclone. These are provided so that you can more accurately cut through here. I'm going to attempt to do this with a jigsaw. I'll be honest, I have not done much cutting through metal, so we'll see how that works out. And we'll just go through this and we'll find out how it does, and then we'll give it a test afterwards. Per the instructions, we are going to cut this down the middle and have 2 separate templates. I think I'm going to try to use an X-Acto style knife for this, though scissors may be needed. I'm not particularly great with scissors, so we'll see. And then we're going to cut out the inside diameter of this. Do not cut out the outside because we will be taping that down there. So do not cut the outer circle. And I even suggest leaving this direction on there so you can remember in the end how you want to do it. Okay, I got my first one cut out. It took a little longer using this, but I was pretty happy with this. That left a really nice circle. And because these need to be relatively exact, you're going to want to get that cut out right so that you're not creating any extra air room for the hose, or for the air to get out of, to leak out of when you're cutting it. So these being correct is very important, and then cutting them correct will be important too. One of the reasons that I had to get such a large bin is that the outside diameter needs to be 2 inches from the outside of the can per the instructions, meaning that when you get them there, if you're on a 5-gallon bucket, these are going to end up like this. And you also need, I believe, at least 4 inches between them. So you may be able to do it on one of the Home Depot buckets, but I don't know if it'll work as well as on something larger. And there are kind of cardboard looking drum bins. There are larger plastic ones, anything else. As long as you have 2 inches on the outside and then roughly 4 on the inside. Now this isn't the ideal shape because it's not flat. It's got a little bit of a bend, but it was flatter than any of the plastic ones available and significantly cheaper. So that's why I chose it. We're just going to use a Sharpie to transfer this hole so we can take this template off so that it doesn't get caught in the jigsaw blade at all as we're cutting. All right, so for doing this, I just purchased Diablo's high-speed steel jigsaw blades. They make some more expensive metal ones. I never cut metal. This is actually my first time cutting metal with a jigsaw, so we'll see how it goes, but I didn't want to pay a ton of money if I'm never going to use these again. Now, they suggest drilling a pilot hole, which I'm going to do. I threw the 1/2 inch in there because the 3/8 inch drill bit looks like it's exactly the size of those, and I don't want the teeth catching on the first cut. One thing that's very important after we cut these out is that we make sure we get all of the metal shards, if there are any, out of here, because we do not want those flying into our dust collector ever. They could cause sparks by hitting the metal. Most larger dust collectors, or at least the one I have, pulls the dust straight through the impeller. And we also don't want any metal getting into our very fine, expensive filters and ripping it at all, because that would defeat the entire point of the filter. So make sure you keep in mind to clean this thing out thoroughly after you cut. All right, we've got the first one cut. One thing I'll say is that it is obscenely loud to jigsaw through these, because obviously it's like an echo chamber. All right, that actually worked really well. I'm gonna take a file or maybe a Dremel, probably a file at first, and try to clean these up a little bit, only because they're incredibly sharp, and I just have a bad feeling that when I'm working with it later, I may cut myself. I also use some dumbbells to help hold this thing relatively stable while I was going around, because these aren't particularly heavy at all, and as you're pushing through the metal, it kind of wants to twist a little bit, the whole can. So consider bracing this, and definitely wear eye protection. I could hear my glasses, or my eyeglasses, getting hit a few times by little shards, and I doubled up on ear protection because it's truly obscenely loud. All right, I did my initial filing. I'm gonna just finish this up with a little 100 grit sandpaper until it's relatively smooth to the touch, and then we'll go ahead and put the inserts in. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and drill the holes from this from the inside, because these do have to be in a specific direction, and I don't wanna bother trying to line it up from the outside. So we're just gonna do this from the inside. You can do it however you wish. Powertec includes 2 different sets of nuts and bolts depending upon the thickness of your lid. If you're marking these holes from the inside like I am, you'll notice that it's easy to mark these 2, but hard to mark these 2. Just flip it around, line these up, and then mark the same 2 in the back. They're all evenly spaced. Obviously, you can't get a Sharpie in there from an angle, so just rotate it around, copy them, and do your best to center this hole over the hole you cut out. And then we're going to weather strip it before we seal it up. Okay, my holes are drilled. 3/16 was the right size there. I'm going to do the same and remove any little burr. And then I'm just using this window weather stripping from Home Depot. It's not ideal for this scenario because it's not sticky on that side, so I'm going to cut it into pieces and work my way around, which I think is going to be my best option here. I'm going to do that from the inside, then the top, and then we'll just go ahead and bolt these in place. Okay, so I've got both of these weather stripped. This is going internally. This is going to go externally. The bolts will feed through. All right, I'm all done with this part of it. And I definitely found in hindsight that holding it up like this, while very awkward, and then using a drill from this side and a wrench from this side was the easiest way. I wish I had some way of holding this easier, maybe some kind of clamp, I'm not sure. And maybe there's some tool. These are the kind of nuts that have that kind of rubbery, plasticky inside, so you can't finger tighten them all the way. They want to lock, which is great for, not coming out, but it makes it much harder in that you have to hold them while you drill or screw from this way. I also found out that my holes weren't all perfect, in part because this is at an angle. So when you're drilling in, you're actually drilling a bit this way. So you either have to overcorrect, or what I ended up having to do is on one of the holes on each of them, I had to move all the way up to a, 5/16 to give myself a little wiggle room. But these are going nowhere. The weather stripping's in there. It's probably not ideal for airflow to have these bolts. I don't know. For now, I'm going to test it. This took me longer than I'd like to admit. It probably took me 1 hour and 20 minutes for all of this, because I kept having to unscrew these and try to figure out, do I need the hole a little wider? So it may take you more time than you think, so plan accordingly. I am now going to meticulously go around and make sure I find every little bit of metal so that none of these can get into my dust collector. There's a bit of like a greasy thing on the inside of the trash can if you buy this Behrens brand, so make sure to wipe that down so your dust doesn't get kind of greasy. And like I said, find every little bit of metal so it doesn't go into your dust collector. I just use normal DeWalt bits. If you're still around Christmas or Black Friday, $10 for a kit of these, great deal. I'll link everything in the description below. Okay, so here's the final setup. I've run this for a couple days now. It's worked really well, but I just wanted to give some test footage. One thing I did find after setting this up, and this may be partially with my dust collector as well, is that I was getting insane static electricity to the point where my arm muscle was twitching after one of the shocks for about an hour. So to solve that, this is the Powertec flexible hose. I took some copper wire and there's a metal ring that runs through this. I stripped it back a little bit here, tied that off there, and then ran the wire literally to the ground underneath my little cart setup so that it is grounded. That solved all the issues. I don't know if that's due to my setup, due to using a metal can. I don't know. I don't care. It's solved. So if you're getting static electricity from this, consider just grounding one of your hoses at least. You can also ground it all the way up to the dust collector itself and screw it into some metal. Here is just a slightly closer look at the grounding. I've pulled back this here and I've tied the copper wire off. And then I just ran it down and then underneath, and it just quite literally just sits on the ground. I put a sinker on the end of it to make sure it's always hitting the ground, and that's just solved all the issues. I've emptied everything out, but I'm going to use this walnut to ideally make it easier to see. Hopefully, I just need to joint and plane this. So we're going to run it through here. This has been emptied out, and I've emptied this out as well as I can. There's still some fine dust in there, but we'll go from empty and then show you what gets in here versus what gets in here. Here is the empty bin. I mean, there's a little bit of dust, but empty. And here is the bag, again with some fine dust, but relatively empty overall, nothing in the bottom. And like I said, I'm using the Grizzly 1.5 horsepower, but we're just going to go through and do the test now. All right, this is the setup. I'm going with the DeWalt, and my kind of overall setup still a little under consideration construction, but just running the 4-inch hose into the Powertec kit in the garbage can right into here. We'll flatten this, then run the other side through, and I'll grab some pine and we'll throw it through too to get enough chips so you can see what ends up in the can. Okay, I've not touched anything. We're going to start off with how many chips / dust is left. So we got a little there, but there's really nothing. There's some just general shop dust, but that's about all that's left on the planer itself. There's the chips inside of the garbage can. And here, well, I don't know if we can see that. Here's all that made it into the bag. Just a little bit at the bottom there. So barely anything compared to what would be in there had I put all of the pieces in there. So you can see the Cyclone kit did a really good job. Really good job compared to what's in the bag. And then if you have a canister filter, you get the other fine dust, but again, hardly anything. All right, so we're just going to do a little in summation here. I would give this a 10 out of 10, to be honest, especially for the price. $21 for the kit, which you get the inlet outlet ports, the hardware to put it together, and then some diagrams to help you cut out the holes for the ports. This trash can, Home Depot, Behrens, $34. So we're looking at, $60, $65 with tax. And then I personally had to buy this hose to set this all up to $20. So you're looking at maybe 80 there, 90 to get comparatively. The Oneida, in which you still have to purchase your own bottom, is $180 for their Cyclone. And depending upon the bottom, you will then be adding significant height. Jet sells one for $150, similar style. You have to provide your own bottom. There is a Lee Valley one that is a lid, but you have to make sure you can find the right bin to match it. I didn't want to go through the hassle of finding that, so you'd still be spending a little more to get the bin itself plus their top, which is $54. I would say that this is a significantly worthwhile improvement if you want to save the life of your filter, make things easier to throw away or dump out in the back. Obviously, getting those dust bags on and off when they're heavy is really annoying. So being able to just take this out and empty it is great. Hopefully my installation helps you a little bit. I would highly suggest this. And just remember, if you're getting static electricity, to connect it to a hose or something metal along the way and ground it. And that should help. So let me know if you have any questions and I'll do my best to answer them. One thing I will add is that the performance of this is also going to depend on your dust collector. I'm running a 1.5 horsepower, so not big, but also not small. If you have a dust collector that's too small, I don't know if it will be able to move enough air to get through there. And what I will say is with mine, the suction is strong enough that when you get up to about halfway, a little more, it can start sucking some chips back in due to the airflow. So you're not going to get to fill this entire thing up to the ports before emptying it. You'll get about halfway or a little over half, but that's not too bad at all because this would be extremely heavy if it was entirely full of dust. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good one.